So in this area, if you see, we have very first as a server. Okay, now what is your server? Server is nothing but this one which we are connecting over here. Okay, once you install, they allocate one server to us. Okay, and over here you will get multiple server from the client when you deploy into the organization. Okay, there might be chances you will get only one. It's depend on the organization how much server they are handling. Okay, then authentication mode, right now we have Windows. Okay, so there might be chances you will get SQL server authentication, so they will provide you the login details and the password. Same with the Azure as well. Okay, so in our case it's a Windows, so I'm going over there. Now connect. Once you connected, then we have the next what? Databases. Okay, so databases is nothing but this one. Okay, so let me delete this is from my previous batch. Okay, so in general you will get this window right now in your system. Okay, so there are system databases as well as user defined. Okay, so we are going to work on a user defined. Let's understand what kind of system databases we have. We have master, model, MSDB and the TempDB. So under that we generally use TempDB, not these three. Okay, so TempDB is used to store your temporary data. Okay, now the next thing we have to do the user defined databases. Okay, now how to create user defined databases? For that we have the SQL command. So let me write that SQL command. Okay, from here we are starting our coding part. Okay, and it's very simple. Okay, you have to just type create database and your database name, let's say SQL training. Okay, once it's done you have to execute this code. Okay, so this line numbers I'm getting from this particular area, tools, options, and if you go to the text editor, okay, in the transact SQL, in general, line number, so you have to tick mark it, then only you can get that line numbers. And the usage of it, like if your query fail, then it will divert that line number. It will say that in this particular line it's failing. Okay, so it's easy to understand in which step it's failing. Okay, that path I had given over here. Okay, how to select that line number, and this file I'm going to share with you in our WhatsApp group. Okay, so let me check whether we have executed this or not. Yes, we executed. Now our database has been created. So to see the database, what you have to do, go over here in the database or in the server, refresh this one, or else right click or refresh, both will work. So see, SQL training. Under that I don't have anything because we haven't created the tables and not inserted any data as well. Okay, after database we have the schema. So schema is nothing but it's providing you, let's say if I have the student table in both area, let's say in HR as well as admin. So to distinct that area, then you have to use the schema. Let's say HR.student and then admin.student. In such scenario, we have to use it. Okay. Or let's say if I am allocating the separate thing for the reporting guys, so I will put like rpt dot that table name. So it's easy to understand to whom we are providing that table. Okay. So we'll see that by default schema will get DBO. So you don't need to define, it will by default get as a DBO, database object. Okay. Now let's jump on the tables. So for tables, what you have to do, again same command, create table, table name. Okay. So let's say right now I will put as a student table. Okay. And then I have to add some columns over here. Okay. Let's say student ID, and I have to define the data type. So data type is nothing but like if you have the numbers, then you have this some data types. Okay, like integer, big int, tiny int, and their differences I will let you know. We have one document. So right now I'm just putting integer. In general we put student name. Okay, for student name I will put nvarchar. Okay, again we can define in another two areas like nvarchar or char or varchar. Okay, now char is nothing but it's a fixed length. Okay, varchar, whatever length we require, it will take accordingly into the varchar, and in nvarchar you will get, let's say, special character as well. Let's say if you are dealing with the Chinese or the Japanese client, right? So for that we require the special characters to be added. So in general we use nvarchar, and the size of this I'm just defining 50. Okay, as per the max length we get for that name we can define accordingly. Okay, if you put extra, that is not harm, but not more than that. Okay, let's say example, if I am putting 5,000, 3,000, so it's not good. Okay, it will hamper later, because in this data we'll get everyday new things. Okay, whether it's updated, deleted or inserted. So if we are defining the big size, then it will create the performance issue. So in short, whatever you require, just put that. Okay, then student subject. Okay, again it will come as a nvarchar because it's a text value 50. Okay, now student mark. Okay, so again integer. So if you see, I have added comma separated till this one. Okay, and at the end I don't require the comma. Okay, now what I had done earlier, I had just executed the database. Okay, now I am executing the table. Now over here you have to be make sure where you are executing. So if I execute this 12 to 18 line, it will save in the master database, but I don't want that. Okay, I want into the SQL training. So either you have to select from the drop down, or else you have to use one command called as use SQL training. Okay, so see, once I execute it, automatically it will change to SQL training. Okay, now run this. So now this particular table, it will be available into the SQL training database. Just you have to refresh it. Tables, see. Okay, now if I want to see the structure of this table, then what you have to do, you have to write the command called as select star form student. Okay, now execute this one. So I can see only structure because we did not inserted any data. Okay, so I have the ID, name, subject and the student mark. So see, creating database, creating table. Now we are going to insert the data. So how to insert data? For that we have the command called insert into. Insert into in the student table. Okay, and after that you have to define the column. So these columns, okay, like student ID, student name, okay, student subject, comma, student mark. Okay, so once it's done, you have to provide the values for respective columns. So values, let's say student ID 1, comma, let's say put the name, any name, Sachin, comma, let's say subject. So if you have the string value or the text value, you have to define it in the single quote. That is a criteria. Okay, and student mark I will put as a 80. After that, if I want to insert one more record extra, so I have to put comma, and then again I have to add one more record. Let's say 2. Okay, let's say Ria. Okay, then subject consider as chemistry and 95 marks. Okay, so according to this column I have inserted my data. Okay, now run it. Once you run, you have to check it out whether it's inserted correctly or not. Again, select star form student. Okay, so give me a second, I did not selected this. Okay, see. Okay, So we have the all columns data. Star means you are representing all column which is present in the student table. If I want to run specific column data, then you have to define. Let's say I want student name and as well as student subject only. Okay, student subject. So I will get only specific data for these two columns. Let's see, run only this area, line number 30 and 31. See, okay.